Hi everyone, I'm Max from DITTO. Nice to meet you all, and I'm so happy to be able to share this presentation for you about how to get data from the edge to Kafka using a multi-hop connection where devices don't even have an internet connection. Who here uses Kafka? Who here is Kafka curious? Oh, we got like the curious ones are like this, very timid about it. And then the edge, people who do stuff at the edge. Raise your hands. Got a couple. Okay, great. So everyone's going to learn something because we're going to bring all these things together. I've got an agenda slide for you, and it's not boring. I'm going to tell you 4 things that you're going to get out of this that this technique will get you. So you'll be able to save money, make some more money for your business, get resiliency, that's a big one there, and better customer experiences. So what I'm about to present to you is used with us at big scales at a whole bunch of different industries. A lot of them are airlines, but they use this every single day. So if you ever fly one of these airlines, go look at the flight attendants and the pilots, and you'll be able to see them using our technology here. As well as we're getting really big into the whole retail and fast food space as well. So to level set, because some of you are just curious about the edge, I'm going to define what edge means for everyone. So if you've seen devices like these, they should make sense to you what they are. So phones, tablets, desktops, on-prem servers, microcontrollers, Raspberry Pis, microprocessors, programmable logic controllers, SCADA systems, robots, cars, what have you. So generally, with our cloud, we kind of call this anything that is not technology that lives in the cloud, so not in a data center or not in the cloud for our presentation purposes. So everyone knows a little bit about Kafka, it looks like, right? So you're all familiar with this diagram, right? Thumbs up if you all, we're all good, so I can kind of calibrate here. So you got producers making some data, and then you put it into Kafka, Apache Kafka, and then on the other side, you get it out using consumers. So here's where the edge really fits in. We have these robotic arms, mobile devices, you have your programmable logic controllers, and they bring data into Apache Kafka and then out to your other systems to get information out of it. So generally, I translate this in business terms to you have data at the edge, it goes in, and then you get information out. So why is the edge so important? So the edge is actually something that most of us, not in technology, are more familiar with. So if you ever go inside of an airline and you ever order a meal through your phone or ask them for any service, you'll see that the flight attendants are actually using mobile devices, mobile payment terminals, and there is no cloud there. You know, you're in the clouds, but you don't even have the cloud. More and more often, you have medical devices. So for the non-technologists, if you do go to the hospital, you are going to get hooked up to a lot of things that will measure data off of you. So heart rate, diabetes monitoring values, and other diagnostics. But also, point of sale and restaurants and retail have all moved completely over to mobile devices, kitchen display systems, even IoT devices checking if things are frying at the right temperature or not. And it goes without saying, everything in manufacturing and industrial has really been hooked up, right? But the way that people have been able to use the edge with the cloud has been generally by putting Kafka, Apache Kafka, in the middle. And so we put data from the edge up to these producers, and they usually go through your infrastructure Wi-Fi. So maybe you have a mobile application or a robot that's inside of a factory. You hook it up to the Wi-Fi, and then you pray that it gets up to your producer that lives in the cloud. Or you might have a programmable logic controller, and then you slap some LTE or 5G on there, and then it gets into the cloud. But the real issue happens is you can't really put a Kafka producer into all of these edge devices. So imagine you have a big car factory and you have robots and mobile devices and logic controllers everywhere. I would love to just put a Kafka producer here, but it's not really meant to scale that way. So generally, what we've always seen is you have your cluster that lives in your VPC, and you have to extend that out by fanning everything into like one producer, because those producers don't really, or we're not really designed for that level of scale. Is everyone following? Kind of understand this stuff? I'm getting nods? Okay, great. That's awesome. So what we see at like factory floors is someone will buy this like what looks like a desktop tower, they'll put it down, and then they'll start putting a Kafka producer over there, but also it starts getting quite complicated. You might start seeing MQTT brokers, you'll also see different types of Kafka connectors, you'll start writing your own custom code, you'll have Kubernetes over here. So this on-prem server is this mentality of trying to bring cloud-based systems to the edge, and then you have a whole bunch of mess that comes with it. And I call this mess because now you have to deploy something to a place that's not, in the cloud. You can't just do this from, at home, push some code up to GitHub and get it pulled down. Deployment to this thing is very hard. What if it's in situations that have differing temperatures, fire hazard situations? Now you have this single point of failure. You could have thousands of edge devices, but now this thing is pretty much your bottleneck to getting data into your Kafka cluster. And not to mention, the other thing is, if you don't have connectivity, which is a huge, huge problem, as you guys can experience in here, like you can barely get anything out. Like if we assume each of us has an edge device, which you do, you have a mobile device, you could barely get any data out from LTE or your Wi-Fi connectors or what have you. And the other part of this is managing enterprise-grade systems. These are multi-million-dollar investments. One access point goes down, a robotic arm that works at a car manufacturer just stops, the entire conveyor belt stops. These are stories we hear all the time from our customers today. So we just thought this was kind of crazy. I mean, what are the big challenges of getting that data into your Kafka cluster? And we can distill it down to two big problems. The first one is the connectivity.